Hello everybody. It's me, it's Andy. Pre-Moonbase show. Pre-Moonbase 2 show. Starting off well. Here with Big D. Hey, Big D.
Hey.
You doing well?
Yeah.
Ready
I'm
to
okay.
talk about some Beasto Machinos?
Absolutely.
How many of these figures have you had? Because I haven't had many of them. I've had a few, but not. Well, I have a couple, but not a huge amount.
I've had a few. I think I've definitely had a version of Jetstorm,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a few of the Maximals, but I was only getting the ones who were in the show where I could.
Okay.
Which is weird because it means I missed out on some of the ones that are regarded as quite good figures in retrospect, but they were non-show related. So
yeah,
and also they were Beast Machines are weird because it was kind of hard to get some of it over here.
I don't remember how they were distributed over in the UK. I think I was out of Transformers at that point, so I wasn't really looking at stuff.
2000 was a bit of a weird point because Beast Wars had if not good distribution, then at least stuff had filtered through over the length of its release period through other methods. So I think I said before, I picked up a few when I was at university, not from big stores, but from newsagents. And quite small newsagents as well, to be fair, in the town I was at university at. And of course, Tigerhawk from an Asda one summer because they had him and Megatron randomly.
Mm-hmm.
But Beast Machines, yeah, it was weird. And the toys were kind of weird as well, to be honest. There's some really good ones in there, but also some that are really, really just
bad. They're very bad.
Yeah. Yes. When Beast Machines is bad, it's bad. But when it's good, it's damn near great. At times.
I disagree. We'll get into it though. I don't think it ever gets to great. It gets to interesting. It doesn't get to great.
Right, they get ambitious.
Yes.
And not always successfully so.
I'll be interested to hear which ones you think are great though. So let's hit the music and then we can start the poopcast properly.
Booyah.
Alright, music time.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decade Andy. We are here with Big D. Hello, Big D.
Hey-o.
And it's another time to look back and talk about the toys of the past. We skipped over this one last time because, well, neither of us had these toys, and I was just like, oh, fuck it, let's just skip it. So now we're back to it. It's Beast Machines from the year 2000. Y2K, Chris Jericho, break the walls down, baby.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Sorry, I was trying to do the thing from his intro video for...
Oh, I thought you just, like, not being able to breathe. Yeah, the smoker voice going. I've had a few of these figures over the years. Big D has said he's had a couple as well, but not the full line. Hopefully we can fill out some of the holes, but probably not, because I think some of the more obscure ones, like the first one we're going to be starting off with here, She, is going to be some of the ones that we probably don't know a huge amount about. Am I wrong there, Big D? Did you have She? If that's even how you say the name?
I saw it on the shelves because oddly enough, it was one of these these vehicles they did. They did one for Cheese and one for Megatron. And a funny old thing, Toys R Us had them, and they couldn't shift the bloody things.
Oh, yeah, it's a wonder, right?
They were there for such a long time.
Yeah, these things don't seem to do a huge amount. They have a quote-unquote beast mode, which is the weapons are not deployed, and then they have a quote-unquote robot mode, at least what they've put on TFU, where it's more of just a battle mode where the guns come out. So, in essence, what She is, C-H-E, if you wonder if I'm saying that correctly, this one specifically seems to be Cheetor's head, and then on his little side ears, he has his little front claws attached, and then on the back of his head a standing area kind of thing. It's like a really bad Action Master vehicle is kind of what this boils down to, which doesn't really make sense for the show either.
And especially as one, it's not in the show. Two, the description says that Cheetor's going to need to operate it at its peak. I don't think any Cheetor figure from this line will actually fit on that vehicle.
Does the Deluxe not fit on this one? The Night Slash one?
Oh, the Night Slash one?
Because I don't know how big this thing is. These things are, I think they're big enough for basics. Well, they're clearly big enough for basics. I don't know if they were ever big enough for Deluxes. That's
it came on a clamshell blister pack.
I'm sure I've seen these and they looked rather big, but maybe
they were kind of chunky, but
there is a really, really tiny picture for the tech spec, which I can't. I think that's Buzzkill, who is the basic writing it. So this is probably primarily for basic figures. Which you're right, there was no basic Cheetor apart from, I don't know, the McDonald's toy. You could probably shove that here if you really wanted to, I suppose. But this had a redeco into a recolor She, which is the black version. Well, no, it's not black. I was going to say black. It is black, but the translucent part, because of course, translucent plastic parts, is dark blue. So
with translucent amber as well.
Yes, the amber's nice. I like translucent amber and black. It reminds me of Auto from Galaxy Force. You know, the old man from Speed Planet, whatever that guy was called.
Yeah, the silver on black as well works for the. It's not a thing. I don't think either of them are really bad decos. In fairness,
well, the first one's just Cheetor's color scheme. To be fair, this one's effectively just Ravage's color scheme. Beast Wars Ravage color scheme.
It's just such a weird toy.
It is It's a toy that shouldn't really exist for Transformers, because why would you have a thing that can transform ride a thing? It seems counterintuitive to the play pattern.
It feels like it's coming from Massive Universe.
Yes,
this would fit in perfectly for the MOTU line.
Pretty much
any MOTU line, frankly.
Yeah, no, I would agree 100% there. This is way more that. I feel that even Action Masters can justify this stuff more so, because their whole thing was that they couldn't transform, so they needed something to transform. So that was their vehicles kind of.
Yeah, I think these Beast Riders were kind of indicative of the lack of focus or lack of unified vision of what the Beast Machines line should be.
Yeah, because Beast Machines was messy production-wise, which I guess makes sense, as we saw with the TV show.
And the toy line really reflects that, because it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. There are other Beast Riders. I just wanted to throw in one Beast Rider, but there is not a lot, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you agree with this, but there's not a lot to say about the rest of the Beast Riders. It's just like there's one that's a bird, and I don't remember if there's any more than that. But it's just like
I think there were just two. There was this one, and there was Megatron's one.
Was that the bird?
I think so.
Yeah, it's just those two then. So.
Yeah,
it's not worth talking about them. It's a weird thing that probably shouldn't have existed. Let's go on to real Transformers.
Yeah,
and one that I got from a Auto Assembly or TFCon, I got Battle Unicorn. One of the few horse Transformers that exists.
Yeah, I think this is one I've heard generally good things about. Overall.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's not perfect. It is a bit ropey, and as you can see for the Unicorn mode, the front legs are a bit on the more than a bit on the gappy side. But overall, the transformation and it being being a reasonably small figure, it's pretty good. It's pretty okay. There are too many translucent parts on this and on the entire Beast Machines line as a whole.
Yes.
For instance, let's go for the robot mode. His hips, he has a giant plate on the side of his entire side of his leg, which is translucent. His waist is translucent. His forearms and fists are translucent. His chest is translucent. Was there anything else translucent? But the fact that his
His
horse,
crotch.
well, I mentioned that. His horse feet, his hooves, they're also
Oh yeah,
translucent.
oh god.
Yeah, there's a lot of he's got a translucent bit on the end of his tail. That's fine, whatever. I think the axe weapon has some. No, I lied. The axe weapon doesn't have any translucent. That's just chromed. But there's a decent amount of translucent plastic on him. I think the hinges on the side of his not chests, on the side of his chest, I think those go through the black plastic rather than the translucent plastic, thankfully. But this is a good little toy, nice little transformation. One of the few horse transformers, I think the only unicorn transformer from Transformers, at least. I can't think of another one offhand.
Yeah, because
there's Mac Kick, which is a just normal horse, and that's the only other horse.
And Alpha Trion's Trans Return is a weird unicorn lion.
Yeah, it's a lion, so it doesn't really, not real unicorn.
No,
not in my eyes.
Yeah, but no, this is cool. I actually really like how that weapon basically runs for the length back of the unicorn mode. That's a nice way of doing things. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, it looks a little bit awkward held in hand, obviously, because it is effectively the length of his entire body in robot mode as well. And you have this unmovable large lump of plastic at the bottom of it for the tail. But it's okay. It's not too bad. I think, I think this is a solid figure. It did get redone into what's it called? Magna Stampede, which is what line was this from? Oh, Universe. Of course it was from Universe, with no translucent plastic, so that's a benefit. But a big dip in the color scheme, as we've primarily gone for white, toffee, caramel, brownish color, and then almost zebra stripes. The zebra stripes work. I think the thing that makes this kind of fall apart for me is the brown. Brown and white and black is not the best kind of color combo. At least,
you got kind of like that Space Wolf blue as well mixed in there, which
it almost looks like the color scheme from what was the Beast Wars combiner called? The Autobot
Magnum
one.
Boss?
Yeah, Magnum Boss. It's got Magnum Boss kind of color scheme. At least the head reminds me of that.
Actually, yeah, I can see that.
Little
it's not as vibrant a color scheme as the previous one, but the fact that it's not in translucence makes me feel a lot less worried about it exploding.
This would be the safe option. My Battle Unicorn, I got mint on card for very cheap because I wasn't going to buy an expensive one. Yeah. So if it dies in time, if it dies, it dies, as a Russian once said in a movie. But I think this one's quite fun. It's one of those, again, this is a figure that you probably didn't buy because who the fuck's Battle Unicorn? Weird name as well, Battle Unicorn. But it's one of the good ones, at least the interesting ones, I would say.
I think that's one. If I see one at a con sometime, I might have to pick one up just for fun.
Novelty. It's a nice novelty at the very least. I can tell you for 100% certainty, if you have Mac Kick, this is a much more fun experience to play within Transform than Mac Kick. Much better. Okay. Mac Kick was not fun. That was a panelly nightmare. This is a lot more, obviously, because it's a basic figure, a lot more smooth and just more interesting to fiddle with, or at least fun to fiddle with. Next up, we have Mirage, one that I've seen many times over the years, but I've never bought personally.
Now, I've never owned it, but my housemate at university did, so I have played around with this one.
Oh, how is it, would you say, then?
He's kind of fun. He, as a goon at the basics price point, he kind of hits all the right notes. He's probably the weakest point is the missiles, because they're those push ones.
Yeah.
So they're just not really fun.
Are they meant to be going over his hand for a reason?
I can't remember because it's been a long time. But to be fair, they can be oriented different ways. So
I'm just kind of looking at the different images and trying to figure out if if there's a reason for it, and I can't actually see a
I
reason
don't
why they
remember
are
anything.
formed like that, because it is weird. Like that's a distinct feature that they
Yeah.
molded. Otherwise, why not just mold
Yeah.
this a straight missile? It's odd.
Very odd. But I mean, he's got the missiles. He comes with a gun, which was not always a guarantee, even at this point, for this price point, which could detach from his head and be held in the hand if you wanted for more normal operation. So that's cool. It's got a funky sci-fi F1 car alt mode, which very cool. And yeah, if you just want to pad out your minions, your faceless goons, Mirage fills the job perfectly well. And it was a basic, so not expensive. Translucent, yeah, a fair bit of it, but I didn't think it was too egregious at the time. I still don't, to be fair. So
I mean, I think it's as egregious as most of the line. You do have his entire forearm on a ball joint, which is translucent plastic, and his shoulder on a translucent ball joint as well, both shoulders. And his waist on, well, his entire torso is a translucent bit of plastic. I think it's odd that they've gone for yellow, his joint kind of colors, like his hips and whatnot, translucent blue for other parts, and then this weird kind of slightly darker Dark Angels green kind of color for his like primary color of his at least vehicle mode.
yeah, it's some odd choices.
I would have thought they'd try and match the color of the translucent plastic to the limb color or vice versa, but they didn't. They went, we're going to have these two separate colors, but we're not going to have it as a very bright color either. The yellow is going to be the primary standout color, and then I guess the blue's meant to be like the energy highlight kind of color, which is odd.
I think they may have been trying to pay a bit of homage to the fact that the Viacon, the ground general, was or the sporty vehicles was thrust, who was actually Waspinator.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the green and you got the yellow stripes in places, which kind of gives you a hint. I'm probably seen far too much into that, but it's to me, it reads a bit of a cute nod to that aspect of.
I would say you might be looking too far into it, mainly because it felt like that being Waspinator came out fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
as there was no hints towards it at all, and I don't know if it's been said that was just made up on the spot one day and then put into an episode, but I wouldn't have been surprised either.
Fair.
In terms of redecos, he got done in 4 Robots in Disguise into an okay-ish color scheme. No translucent plastic. Primary colors are yellow and black. He has a very, very, very yellow F1 car mode. I think it's maybe a little too yellow. The robot mode, I think, is a good balance. It's just mainly when you get to the car mode, it's a little too much yellow. And it's an Autobot, which is weird.
Yeah, the amount of black that's towards the rear of the car really makes it quite unbalanced for colors.
Oh, it doesn't help that they've not transformed it correctly, because they've got the robot head active in the car mode too.
Oh yes.
Or is it?
Well, weirdly, the attack mode has it done properly, which is.
Wait, is that right? I don't know, but I'm okay. So the correct version would be his head is visible all the time. Oh, I guess he's a Viacon, so I guess that makes sense.
I mean, the Viacons did tend to have a lot of visible head syndrome.
Yeah, well, deliberately, I suppose. That was
but I think this one may just be they have just mistransformed it, and it's supposed to be.
It's odd either way.
I think the attack mode is supposed to be the actual way it's supposed to look.
Maybe. I don't know now. Now that we've talked about it, because Tankov's head was always visible, Thrust's head was always visible. Jetstorm's wasn't, but he had a faux head.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe
those were the generals, and they were supposed to do.
No. The drone versions of them were like that. Remember, the general versions were a little bit different.
Yeah.
Well, the Voyagers and Ultras were a little bit different. I don't know. Either way, which color scheme do you prefer? Do you prefer the GT or the standard? I think I might, unlike Battle Unicorn, I might go with the GT.
Yeah, I think I agree with that one. The yellow, it's a more balanced color scheme overall, even though the alt mode has more of the yellow to it. At least that yellow is all over the robot mode.
Yeah, it's not painted yellow either, apart from on the face where you can tell it's a little on the light side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mirage not too bad.
Yeah.
Looks okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I always dug it.
Speaking of the generals, we have the best version of Thrust, which is the motorcycle drone. I do not have the motorcycle drone. I wish I did because it's I have the quote unquote deluxe version of Thrust, and it's pretty terrible. Have you had this version of the drone?
I haven't, annoyingly, but I did hear that there's this weird thing. It was weird with the generals how what was supposed to always be the best versions, the pricey ones, always seemed to somehow be lacking something that was in the more basic version. You went down.
I think it didn't help that they just didn't look like the show models. Clearly, it was maybe something. I'm guessing they wanted to have the figures, the generals, look like the deluxe versions, but there just wasn't the budget at the time to make those 3D models, so they just kind of went there. Just use the drones, just copy and paste. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Head says it could be argued Jetstorm had two heads. That's true. He did have his little cockpit and then his actual head, but the rest of them really didn't. Have you ever played with this version? Did you say, Big D, or not?
I haven't, unfortunately.
It seems like it has the generic Thrust problem of, do you want him to stand? Okay. Well, we've engineered some wonky feet because unless you've got a special stand to have him stand up in his unicycle mode, well, you got to have something. So here's the wheels split apart and plumped on the sides. Okay, it's the best they can do. It's a basic figure. The arms are clearly far too big, like the forearms. But they're trying to get the bike to look good, and I think the bike mode looks pretty accurate, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the bike looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like one of the things about Beast Machines is that they didn't try and make the vehicle modes look like they needed a pilot.
Yes.
They leaned hard into the idea that this was a robot who's just taken a different mode, not they're trying to blend in somewhere.
Yeah.
And this looks pretty great for that. Like you say, the robot mode is not.
It's fine.
Always.
It's accurate enough.
Yeah, I mean, given what they were working with for the actual show design, I think this is about as good as you could expect for us to be.
Especially from 2000.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the more expensive version couldn't match up to it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they were doing with the shoulders, or unless this is just mistransformed, which obviously could be the case. The shoulders look like they're just kind of sticking up to the side, which is kind of a weird thing to do. In terms of articulation, I imagine he's very limited just because of how big his arms are, and I'm guessing those are on ball joints probably for the shoulders. There certainly are ball joints for the elbows, so I don't think there's much hope standing up there. And I think he's only got two pincers, and Thrust always had three pincers, and the pincers are also translucent as well. So would it be nice for an extra pincer? One more would have cemented it as being accurate, because I'm sure it was a 3-prong thing, but maybe I'm wrong. Head said the problem with the show characters in Wave 1 and 2 is that they were based on concept art instead of the finalized design. Yeah. What I was suggesting was the concept art might have been something they wanted to get in as well, potentially, but I'm not sure. He does have some firing missiles and whatnot, but there's nothing much to say. He did get... Yes, that's right. I knew he got redone. He got redone in Beast Wars Return, which was a Japanese only effectively release of the line in 2005, 5 years later. I don't think they did a huge amount here. The pictures aren't desperately good because the flash is so fucking crazy on it.
It looks to me like there's more red paint on the legs / front bike fairing, and potentially it's or and like you say, this could just be the Flash in action. It's possibly more of a. It's weird because you look at the bike mode, which it feels in places like it's got a much more saturated, hot, almost hot pink color.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the additional bits of red they've put on the bike fairing though. That actually work. I think that does work to give it a bit more texture. Moves away from the actual animation model a bit, but I kind of dig that. That works.
A weird choice is they seem to have not painted one of the arms. One of the arms is in like a gunmetal kind of silver, and then the other arm has half of it painted like that, but then the other half is like the unpainted flat grey plastic, which again, an odd choice.
Odd.
Yeah. Not exactly sure why. Does he actually have hip joints? I don't think he does, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So it looks like his legs are completely immobile, which is, I guess, makes sense. You know, he's meant to be on his back wheel primarily, but something a little bit easier to notice in the overexposed Flash that we saw in the Japanese images. Next up, we have Longhorn, who is a bison transformer.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of this guy. So,
he's an interesting color scheme, for sure. Again, the face design for the robot mode reminds me a lot of the stupid bird from Beast Wars Neo, who had the Quetzalcoatl, whatever that character was called. It's got that kind of face for the robot mode. But this is definitely a bull, as he has a massive metal ring going through his bull nose. I almost like the silhouette. I don't like the robot face. He's got translucent, like, bluey, greeny boobs for his robot mode, which look a bit weird and kind of clash with the rest of the robot mode, which is a bit of an odd choice. I wonder if he's gold plastic syndrome, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. He might be fine. He might not be.
He does have a lot of metallic plastics all over him, doesn't he? It's
no,
not just...
it doesn't look like it's metallic plastics. I don't know. Like, I don't know. The gold might be, or it might just be yellow.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to tell with the Flash. I think the maroon color is just maroon because I don't see any sparkle in it.
True.
So I don't think
it's
that
an
one is.
It's an interesting set of colours. I have to say, although I get what you say about the turquoise translucent on his chest. However, the fact that that colour shows up in both the beast mode eyes and that little bit of the crest that's showing, and around his neck of the robot, that at least doesn't make it suddenly come out of nowhere. There's at least a bit of crossover with other parts of the body, so it feels like it works as part of his chest assembly. So it kind of makes... It feels like they've at least given you a bit more to work with there.
It feels too out of place for me. It just doesn't mesh with the colors. I can see what you're saying, that they have tried to incorporate it into other parts of the robot, but I don't think it works at all. It stands out too much. It doesn't work with it. Like a browny maroon color and a yellow does not work with a translucent greeny bluish kind of color. It'd need to be over way more of the figure to try and draw that in. And even then, I don't think it would work too well. Clearly, he has some kind of gimmick. Oh, he apparently has a head ramming action, whatever that equates to. I imagine I
think you push the button down in his beast mode and basically his entire head assembly, including just kind of rams forward.
Yeah, I assume that's probably the case. Kind of like the Buffalo from Beast Wars, whatever his name was. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But this, again, from a looks-wise, this looks interesting, at the very least. So I'll give it points for that.
Yeah, it's a shame that the photo doesn't really... It's not the most flashing angle of the robot, of beast mode. You can't really make out the head.
No. Again, is there any repaints? No, this one doesn't have repaints at all. This was a one and done. the only time the mold was used, for better or for worse. I don't know if it's absolute garbage or great. I don't see people talking about it, but that's Beast Machines, isn't it? When's the legacy version coming? That's the real question. Next up, we have a Gecko Bot, an interesting name. Has a pretty interesting a flying lizard. I don't know, mode. Nice colors, purple with some okay painted wings and blues and reds and goldy kind of colors. Then you get to the robot mode and they go, no color. It's going to be one color, green. What a mess. Unless, again, it's mistransformed. If it's mistransformed, fair enough. But
I don't think that is mistransformed. That's just a really weird design. Because, I mean, it's different. I'll give them that, but
I think this needed to be a bigger scale for what they're trying to do.
yes,
It looks like clearly like the biceps, I guess you want to call them, come together and peg together to form either the top or the bottom of the animal mode. But it's got these really gangly proportions where it's really thin. But the biceps are really big, like the guys that inject oil into their biceps. It's kind of like that visually. A thin dude injecting oil into his biceps to inflate them. The head design, it's kind of hard to tell what they're going for because it's such a small, terrible photo. But I think it might be a girl, a chick robot, but I don't really know. It almost reminds me of the really bad Star Trek episode where Data wears masks for the different personalities that have inhabited him. And then Picard wears
I know what you mean. But
yeah. Can't remember the name of it. It was like one of the later seasons, at least, like season 6 or 7. But yeah, it's got molded detail on the chest and on the legs. So I think if it had more painting on it, like if it brought the purple and the gold over to the robot mode and put it on the chest and a bit on the legs, it would have helped a bit more. It would have still had the weird, bizarre proportions. But I think it would have helped, at least made the robot mode interesting rather than it looks like it's unpainted. Because again, you look at the robot, the beast mode. Sorry, I think it's kind of interesting. It's
the beast mode has a lot going for it because well, it's got all the paint budget.
I don't know if it's a complete fucking mess from underneath the wing because the wing's kind of. We get one shot of it from kind of like a top-down angle, so it's hard to tell. But from this one angle, it's like, well, it's pretty. It looks interesting. Like you said, it's got the entire budget of painting. All of it. And I like the head design of the beast mode. It's a kind of angular lizard design. It's like, oh, okay. And then you get to the robot mode, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, color. It's all gone.
So weird.
And no redos. It was a one-and-done figure as well.
Also, if you look at the tech spec, the little picture of they've attached there, there's a completely different deco for the robot.
No, I don't think it is. What's different about it?
No. If you look at the tech spec...
I'm looking.
Yeah. So there's a lot of purple, solid blocks of purple they've used for like those big bicep pieces and on the chest.
Is that purple? Because I think that's just the green. All they've done is they've turned the bicep pieces round because that's the top of the lizard mode where the red and the orange is.
Maybe. It's so hard to tell because, like I say, it's such a small.
The reason I say that is because if you look at the angle of the wings, they're sticking out at the exact angle of the wings on the beast mode as well.
That's true.
So I think that is the color scheme. They've just
you might be right
done the smarter thing and try to angle it so there's a bit more color facing forward. Now, granted, it would take up a lot more shelf space doing this, and he still has no color on the chest, but. At least twisting the arms around shows off a little bit more color. The problem is the arms will still look weird and wonky just because of how big they are. I don't think this works too well, unfortunately.
No.
One that kind of does work and is kind of a mess, but is kind of endearing, one that I have, is Hammer Strike, the Hammerhead Shark. He's a very, very weird figure because of how thin it is. But it's got an interesting color scheme of kind of a metallic-y blue, translucent orange, a bit of metallic pink for whatever reason.
He's got real angelfish kind of vibes.
In robot mode, right?
In robot mode, and also just because of the colors more than anything. But robot mode especially.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun for a shark to suddenly have this very delicate robot mode.
Yeah, and especially when we were coming off of stuff like Cyber Shark and like big figures like that. This is incredibly thin. And asymmetrical as hell as well, I'm sure you could tell. His hands consist of the bottom part of the shark jaw as well, which is, again, very odd. It's one of those figures that feels like a child would probably break it. And it's got a strange head design as well. It's almost like... it almost looks a little bit like a crustacean head with a little hat on. You know, it's got these blue bits that almost look like teeth going around an orange part, which almost looks like a tongue coming out. I don't know if that was the intent, but yeah, spindly is the main word. He's not very poseable, and obviously there's a lot of translucent orange plastic on him. But I think for like a shark mode and for the scale that they did him at, because again, this is a basic figure, so this is a low budget figure. It's really pulling above its punches. It's doing well.
I do like that shark mode. Like I say, for the price point, that is a decent looking shark.
Yeah,
and
it can switch the tail as well because of the knee joints being where they are.
And sometimes you don't even get that on a Voyager size shark former. So bonus points there.
It does have an action gimmick as well because his hammerhead shark head comes off as a kind of beating weapon, and if you press a little button on it, the orange bit kind of very slightly comes forward. It's not very good, but you know, interestingly enough, if you look at the tech spec looks like it's a completely different color scheme this time round. As it looks like he was meant to be black and purple or black and pink.
Yeah,
maybe? It's kind of interesting.
You know, it's no surprise for tech specs have different paint schemes though, because that's been going on for years at this point.
It's just weird that it's so different. Like it's like going from a what would you call this? Like a beigey-ish gray kind of color, and it came from black and purple. And it looks like the translucent plastic was going to be red. I think this would have been a nice recolor, to be honest. But he was a one and done kind of boy as well. Another one.
Yep, another one.
Yeah, this is one I would say is worth picking up just because it's so weird. Unless you really dislike the robot mode because of how it looks.
Not at all. I dig robot mode. It's so obviously weird. It's like you said, it's become endearing just because of how weird it is.
And if you don't like that, put it in the shark mode because the shark mode's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. Hammer Strike, I like it. Now, one that I know is notoriously terrible, or I hear nothing but bad things about it, is Buzzsaw, a wasp, a big wasp that has a very, very visible gigantic spring on his arm or bottom.
That is a big spring, isn't it?
It's a gigantic spring. I think the wasp mode looks okay, and I think the wasp head, if this is a wasp and not a hornet or whatever, reminds me a lot of animated Waspinator. Design-wise, I think it's very similar. The issue is they're just both kind of crappy modes. I can't remember if you can detach the legs in his hand, because he's got two legs that go behind his head and then two legs that it looks like he holds in a clip on his hand, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah.
He's got incredibly long legs, where the knees are very high up. He's barely got any thigh at all. The head design is kind of odd looking, because I can't tell if he's got 3 eyes or more. You know?
Yeah. You know what struck me now? but we've come to this guy.
Mm.
It does rather feel like the designers had no clue that some of these were supposed to be Maximals for Beast Form. Because this dude looks so Predacon, it's not funny. I mean,
Yeah, he looks evil.
He basically has Waspinator's animated beast mode head.
Mm.
So I'd not be surprised to find out that this was supposed to be a Waspinator at one point. And they found out, oh no, no Waspinator in this show. We need all the beasts to be good guys. It's like, you what?
Yeah, it doesn't say in his bio that he's Waspinator related, but it's the thing that makes the most sense.
Mm.
In the bio image as well, it looks like he's more yellow and purple as well than
a
yellow
lot
and
more.
black, primarily. A lot more green in there as well. I don't know how the stinger works, but on the tech spec, it looks like it opens up kind of like a hand in a weird way. I don't remember it being able to do that. I'm sure it did, though. Again, only got used the one time and then was thrown away into the garbage pile. I remember, I think I fiddled with this very briefly at Dave's house. I think it was one of those things where I picked it up and put it down very quickly because I just didn't like how it felt. But it was a while ago, so I can't, don't take that as gospel, as it is absolute dog shit. I just don't remember good things about it when I had it in hand. Because if I liked it, I would have fiddled with it, That's my logic.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's so weird. Were
very
you going to
weird.
say something? I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I was just going to say it's another case of they were trying, but it just doesn't quite work.
I mean, it's weird to have a gigantic spring on a basic toy as well. I'm not sure what they were going for, apart from maybe to save money, I guess. Exelhead says, Buzzsaw surviving from Beast Wars into Beast Machines was great. You mean Waspinator? No, Buzzsaw.
No, Buzzsaw was the name of one of the repaints of Waspinator in.
That's right. Yeah, it was the yellow one.
That actually would make a bit of sense if that could have been a fun little thing if someone had done a story and had this be that Buzzsaw who's arrived back on Cybertron and found himself on the wrong side of the law, or the right side of the law, so to speak.
Exelhead also says, I had him and found him to be a good toy. I think generally I don't hear good things about him, though, when I've seen like YouTube videos on him. But, if you had him and you enjoyed him, that's good.
Yeah, that's generally good to hear, because it's very easy to hate on a figure just for hate's sake. Sometimes you need to spend a bit of time with a figure to really feel it. Or sometimes it might just be one of the only figures you have, so you have really fond memories of it.
It's always good to be critical of things as well.
Oh, yes.
Next up, we have an Animorph figure. It's a Beast Changer, a.k.a. Savage Noble. Not translucent, mostly. I don't think at all. No, not translucent plastic. So there's one benefit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is an attempt to do something that was not doable, is how I would describe it. Have a weird, squat, two-legged, red, in quotations, dragon, because it wasn't really a dragon that had no eyes, turn into a completely blue wolf.
Yeah. Bless them, they've tried.
They have. Noble suffers because he is attempting to be blue and attempting to have wolf hands when he clearly does not. The weird thing is, I don't know why they painted the wolf head with red bits on it as well, because I feel that was unnecessary.
Yeah, that would have probably been better if it had just been blue.
Blue, yeah. Like he did. I remember in the show, the model had like around the nose, it was purple-ish, or like a little tint of a wash, but the cheeks definitely weren't red. I'm sure about that. That was an odd choice. I think the Savage part doesn't look too bad for what it is, which is obviously a very squat, flat red dragon. I like the head design. They got that correct. The wings are apparently removable. You don't have to have them on Noble. They've just, for the whatever reason, decided to leave them on here. I don't know how good of a figure it was, but it's definitely not hitting the, this was a figure that, one, you had to do, and two, could do well, because it was literally magic. I remember the transformation was he bubbled. Like, he bubbled and just, like, slurped out into each form. So not even the people that made the 3D model knew how it was meant to work in a practical sense. It was never meant to.
Oh, no, it was a complete cheat, because it... But you know what? Fair play to the designers for even trying to render this in plastic.
Yeah. I don't know how popular it was. Probably not very, because, I mean, it wasn't in the show that long, even, really.
What, maybe 2 or 3 episodes at most?
Three's probably normal.
Little mini arc between with Silverbolt, I think.
So, episode 2 and 3 of, like, 1 and 2 of, like, season 2 or something, maybe? Because it's when Megatron's meant to quote-unquote die. Well, in Beast Wars Returns, the Japanese series, they did repaint it. They gave it a bit more of an interesting color scheme. I guess the head's more accurate. But the problem is, because of how it transforms, you can't add a lot of blue. But they added metallic purple instead, which I don't understand the reason for. I think, again, the Noble... apart from the wings are a different red color than the body for whatever reason. They've got like a big poppy, saturated, bright red on the wings, while the body is more of a very dark, kind of maroony kind of red color, which is, again, a little bit on the odd side. But in terms of like how nice this is, I think this one looks a little bit nicer, even though it's maybe only a smidge more accurate. I'd
agree with that, yeah.
And again, they kept the wings on for the photo for some reason for Noble.
And at least this one, the way they've posed, you get a better sense of how the designers have at least sculpted fur into the opposite side of the talons.
Yeah.
For beast mode, so that although they don't look like wolf paws, there's at least fur, so it's more consistent.
Yeah.
So man, this is such a weird thing, because it's very specific, and it, like you said, it's the ultimate. Yeah, this was never designed with the intent of being replicated. It was just for the show, for how it did everything. But I mean, God damn it, they tried, and I kind of respect that.
Oh, I can see. Here's a negative, which I've noticed in the features: the spring-loaded jaws. So if you wanted to play around the jaws, you couldn't, because there's a spring in there, which I did notice on the Beast Wars Returns image. If you look at the back, which is clearly where the head flips back, you can see on the right-hand side there's clearly a coiled-up spring there. And spring jaws, they're never fun. You always want to be able to fiddle with a jaw because it's more playable and fun. Also, apparently, there was a wind-up spinning claw gimmick. I don't know where.
How? Yeah, I can't see.
It's in the forearms, or is it the wing claws? It might be the wing. No, it can't be the wing claws, because if it's the wing claws and they spin around, the wings are going to batter into each other, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be the forearms, I guess.
I mean, there's not really any space in the forearms for it.
No. I don't know where these spinning claws are meant to be coming from, but apparently they're meant to be somewhere on the figure.
Okay.
Yeah, even on the American one, it says wind-up spinning claw gimmick. I don't know where, though. Okay, well, it's a bit of a weird one. This goes into the category of the Beast Wars figures that turn from an animal to an animal, like Soundwave. Those ones. This is another one of those where you go, all right. I wonder if this is expensive because no one bought him. Maybe. I wonder.
Maybe.
Next up is a figure that's not too bad. One that I've had in the past. It's Black Arachnia. One of the show figures. So, interesting thing, which I like about the figure, is that the front legs, or the main robot legs, split in half all the way down and become the spider legs, at least the front two. It looks a little bit awkward when you have it in spider mode, but I appreciate the attempt of doing it, and it somewhat works. I don't like the back legs because the back legs are just her arms.
Yeah, but back legs never really work because of you kind of had to wedge from underneath her thorax at the back there.
Yeah,
I think her ass because they're on the ball joints and they're a softer plastic in the claws. They're prone to either bending or just flexing off the ball joint if you weren't careful, which is a bit of a shame because, like you say, although the beast mode legs, when they're split at the front, look a little awkward, it's actually a really fun idea.
Yeah,
and it's a novel transformation, but doesn't compromise the robot mode.
I would argue that in these images they didn't transform it correctly and went for stability more than cool's sake because they haven't put the spider legs on the tippy, pointy bit of the spider leg. They've got the robot feet flattened out, which is boring. You know, you don't have to do that.
Cowards.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking cowards. I wonder, because mine's okay, but I wonder if anybody has ever had issues with like pegs and ports breaking while splitting the legs apart.
I've never had an issue with mine.
No, I'm not saying anyone does, but you can see that would be.
Oh yeah, I could imagine after repeated usage that would be something.
Because there's quite a lot of pegs there. To be fair, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6, maybe more. Obviously they don't all need to go, but there's the potential that there's some quite small ones in there as well.
And some of them go into quite thin bits of plastic as well.
Yeah,
feet, so
it's one of those things where you look at it and you go, maybe it's dangerous. I don't know. The general look of the spider mode, though, I think is again solid. I like the big spider arse, and the spider head actually looks like a spider head, which doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
And in robot mode, she has her in quotations hair. Whatever that is, and she's got a flippy up and down mask, which you can obviously flip up and down. This is not obviously the correctly colored Black Arachnia, and what's interesting is this got redecoed 4 times. I think I have the worst version, which is the standard version. So let's have a look at the other ones. There was the one that I might like the best, which is the Universe Black Arachnia. I remember this being used in the comics. Where she's got the silver face. The silver face isn't great. She's got some silver detailing over her boobs and her coochie because, you got to accessorize. And then the primary color schemes are a metallic kind of metal blue color and then orange. And that just works really well off each other. And a bit of translucent red in there as well. Yeah,
I think that color scheme. Real, almost a flame war vibe. Not quite, but a little bit of that vibe going on. It's a really nice vibe. The orange is nicely vibrant, which is not always a given.
Her ass is actually in spider mode quite nice as well because they've added silver and like a death guard. Yeah, like a death guard green as well in little places. Not a huge amount. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's got a pop to it. They've even painted. I didn't realize, but they've painted pupils on the eyes for the robot mode as well. I didn't mention this before for Black Arachnia, but the lipstick looks a bit weird on the standard version, I find. Mainly because her head is so dark purple. The bright red lipstick looks kind of odd. Now, granted, the red lipstick on the silver looks strange, but it's not quite as stark, I don't think.
Yeah, because you can make out more of a face, it feels a bit less out of place.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the standard one looks like when you see in like old 70s cartoons where lips are just floating and speaking, and it looks a little bit creepy. That's the kind of vibe when I get from that, where this looks like you said, Big D, it looks like it's attached to a proper face, because it is. XL Hedge says, Noble Savage should have just had 2 repaints, one blue and purple for Noble and one red and yellow for Savage. That would have been a smart idea. Maybe you could have done it as a 2-pack. Maybe, but then again, it's like You can't really do that at the same time as well, I suppose.
Honestly, the best way to do Noble Savage would have just been to do them as 2 non-transforming action
I
figures.
thought you were just going to say not do them.
Well, that's well.
But yeah, no, I agree. If they would just, I guess what you could have done if you wanted to go old school is you could have made Savage a pretender shell, and you could have had Noble as like an action figure that just kind of curls up inside of it. Is it cheating? Is it cheating? And is it kind of half-assed still? Yes, but it would mean that you get like, okay, so no. My idea for Savage would be you have the head as a separate piece, so the mouth could open and close still. But that's all you really need. It wasn't like a very dynamic dragon anyway, so then you could have had Noble, like you say, with opposability. That would have worked. That would have been okay.
That sounds quite fun, actually. Yeah.
Next up, we have the Crystal Widow. Apparently, this was a store exclusive. Does it say where? Apparently, Kmart stores. Came with oil slick. Which oil slick? Oh, never mind. And Search and Destroy robot. Who's Search and Destroy? Oh, it's that. Never mind. This isn't a grade 2-pack. I can't really recommend this. The Black Arachnia, though, not too bad. They've kept the same blue and the silver highlighting on the coochie and the boob. But they've just effectively just darkened down the orange to shift it. It's not red, but shift it more towards being red. I prefer the other one still. I still think this one looks okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is still a nice. How to say, both the orange and this orangey red have both been really nice, highly saturated colours.
Yeah.
Which they're not always when they get used on Transformers. So, and oddly, I kind of like how this works with her beast mode head. Because that, with the translucent and the blue and the very orangey red paint app on the eyes, that works a bit better for me than the other versions we've seen for some reason.
Yeah, I think it helps that the orange translucent plastic they used on the previous one was obviously an orange translucent plastic, so it didn't match the very, very bright orange color of the body and the thorax and everything. While this is using the darker orange, so it meshes better with that translucent orange and kind of pulls it together. I'm guessing that's probably what it is. I think I still prefer the more orangey one overall because I think it gives a nicer contrast in the robot mode. But if you really wanted oil slick as well, that was an option. I guess you could do that. And then the last version, which is the Beast Wars Return version, is Japan went, what if we actually colored her like the show? And they did. It's like, it's kind of a pinky red and green, and it looks good. You know, it's what you would expect. They've tried to give her the lipstick, but because it's on such a pink kind of face, it doesn't really work. I think they've actually given her like, is it called eyeshadow? The stuff around the eye, is that eyeshadow? I think it is.
Oh, eyeshadow, kohl.
Or is eyeshadow just when it's black around the eye? Because they've given like a little orange tint right at the corners of her, like the eyes, so it looks like she is wearing makeup of some sort. You know what I mean?
I kind of I get what you mean. I kind of dig it though. I like
I like it. It's just interesting to know. It's something I don't think the other ones did.
Its technical term is kohl, KOHL.
Oh, okay.
It's an old. It's specifically, I think, if you go outside the eye, but not inside the cavity between the eyes and the eyebrow.
Yeah, okay.
Then it changes. The terminology changes, I think. I could be wrong on that.
Even in the makeup world, I would have thought they'd just be late. I'd just call it eyeshadow. Just eyeshadow, whatever. This is why I'm not a makeup artist, though. But what do you think about this? This Black Arachnia?
Like this deco. This might be my preferred deco. If I'd have this version, just because I like the show accuracy.
Yeah.
That does a lot for me.
Yeah. And it is really nice and bright and pink as well. And it's not like girl pink either. It's kind of not hot rod pink either, but it is that kind of.
Have you seen
Yeah.
Louise Sugden, the miniature painter, she did a line of paints with Monument.
Is that the Rogue
And she
Trader
has
lady?
Rogue Hobbies, yeah. She's
That's
got a hot pink as one of the colours that they've done a spray can for as well, and that looks pretty much like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. This might be a little tinted more towards the red than that colour, but I'm getting the same sort of vibe from it. So
I
love
wonder.
the luminous green as well. That lime green works.
It's also maybe the most consistent spider. Like nothing really stands out as like the previous the original version of the mold. The translucent spider head on the front, it doesn't mesh well with the figure. It was kind of the same for my favorite one, and this one seems to all blend in quite well together. Also, it helps that they've transformed this one correctly, and they're having the spider legs transformed right here, which also helps. To be fair,
what are the odds of that helping? What are the odds?
I would imagine. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that this is probably the hardest version to get, or probably the most expensive, because it's the only one that's accurate to the show.
I can imagine that.
And I don't know how popular the 2005 line was, to be honest. Probably not very.
I think that was the anniversary Beast Wars line, wasn't it, in Japan?
Yeah, something like that. But maybe it won't be that expensive because people generally don't like Beast machines still after all these years. So I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. And they do have very weird toys. Because again, if you want your Transformers to look boxy and normal, I mean, clearly Beast Machines was not the show for you. The only figures that would interest you at that point are the Viacons. Since all the Maximals have incredibly, even against the previous Beast Wars figures, these have very, let's say, eclectic designs where they don't.
Oh yes.
They almost have a French tint to them. They almost remind me of. Do you remember Phantom 2099 or whatever it was called? That show.
2049. Yes, that's the one. I do.
Where they look like they came from Aeon Flux, and everyone looks a little bit scary. Some of the designs are edging towards that. Like the only character design I actually found a bit creepy as a kid was Rat Trap, because his face was weird as fuck.
I mean, given that Beast Machines was made in Canada, the fact that these feel very French, like Aeon Flux and Phantom 2049, makes a lot of sense.
Are you saying it was made in Quebec, or a Quebecian was the artist? Because that would be interesting. I'd laugh if that was true. That would be really funny.
Where was Mainframe based?
It's probably Toronto. But they might have had a Quebecian as the art designer, someone from Quebec. We'll blame the French. It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Well, I've just done a quick eBay search for Beast Machines Black Arachnia and Beast Wars Returns Black Arachnia.
Mm-hmm.
The only version I can find is the basic, first wave release, and she goes for. I found an opened American version for £50 plus shipping.
50? Fuck off! I didn't pay that much when I got it.
A sealed one.
For
£34 plus £25 shipping from the States.
So it's cheaper to buy the sealed one.
But you have to pay like almost the same price getting postage.
But if you're in America, you wouldn't,
Oh yeah, if you're in the States, you saw it.
Yeah.
And then the Japanese release of the Beast Machines figure, so the original version of the figure, not the Beast Wars Returns version.
Oh, interesting.
Is £74.
What about the Universe one out of interest?
Couldn't find her.
Oh, the best one's not there, baby. Oh.
Yeah.
So next up we have Blast Charge, who I again remember vaguely fiddling at Dave's house. He was pretty bad. He's not like the Hammer Strike, who's kind of quirky and eclectic. This one feels like, or felt like, a new GoBot toy. And I don't mean that in a positive way. No.
His alt mode looks fantastic.
The alt mode is kind of interesting. I don't know what kind of vehicle. How would you describe the vehicle, Big D? Like a moon rover?
I'd call it an urban pacification vehicle.
That works, yeah.
I believe that's what they call it in the American police departments.
You notice where the head is for the robot mode in vehicle mode?
Is that on the back of the gun turret?
Yeah, it's just hanging out there. It's just hanging
Oh
out.
dear.
It's just looking at his bottom all the time. It's very
It'd almost be
narcissistic.
better. The thing is, I don't think it would actually turn. So as much as I think it would look better if it was upright and facing forward, so he was actually looking at what he was shooting, I don't think the design actually lets you do it.
I think
might do,
it
but-
does. I think it does. Because if you look at the robot mode, you can see where the missiles are, and I imagine the head just kind of has to flip up. And it's a Viacon, so the head has to be able to just be seen at all times, I suppose.
Oh, no. I know the head can flip up. It's more
Oh.
a case of I don't think it could swivel around to look forward. Because I don't think it's actually on a swivel. I think it's just.
I see what you mean.
I might be wrong because of how it's actually on. It's in a recessed cavity of its own, so it might be on a pin there, so it could actually swivel as well.
So here's what I'm thinking. I think you might be right, but I think you see the joint where the silver goes into the tan or whatever color that is. I think that is a swivel joint itself. I think.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at that point, so
it's because like no Transformers designed like that. No Transformers really ever designed like that. But I think that might be the case. But don't hold me to it. But if you look at that robot mode, he literally has 3 holes in his thighs. Like actual holes. His legs are incredibly long. His arms are incredibly thin yet tight. I kind of like the head, but again, it feels like you're a kid and you're trying to make a Darth Vader helmet out of a bin bag or a little plastic bin that you found and you've cut holes out.
You know what it feels like? It feels like a really bad knockoff Jet Jaguar.
I thought you were going to say a Cyclone from Battlestar Galactica.
Asylum.
Yeah, it's Asylum. But I can see the Jet Jaguar stuff as well. It's
so weird. I mean, I'm all for weird robots, but this is
It feels like a different generation in terms of a design. It feels like it's more like 70s or pre-70s kind of looking robot than where we are at the moment, which was 2000s. It looks very, very old visually. And I like, again, you got the 2 wheels at the bottom of the legs, the feet awkwardly positioned at the base of one of these wheels as well. I guess he's got guns in his shins. The little grey bits sticking out the side. Maybe they're guns. I don't know.
I mean, how the tech spec version looks a little better because the arms have been posed outwards a bit, but that's not saying much. But
does he look more squat as well for some reason?
He does.
I don't know why.
They photographed him.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like looking and can't actually tell why he looks so smushed in that tech spec version, but it looks like he's been smushed a little bit. For some reason, Blast Charge did get a repaint, which I'm shocked at because I don't think I've ever seen this. Of course, it was Universe. Color scheme's actually not too bad. It's purple and whitish gray. And they've done metallic tiger stripes on it, which oddly enough looks quite nice. He has a robot. What do you think of the robot attack mode?
That might be the best look to have him in if it's not the vehicle mode, to be honest.
That was my thoughts as well. I think never have him in robot mode. Only put him in attack robot mode. I forgot his. You can pull out the front of his vehicle mode and kind of make it like it's a truck rather than it's one vehicle. So the front part's like a detached truck, and then the back part's like a trailer it's dragging.
It's like the old Cobra. What was it? The Venom. That weird artillery tank they had. I had the bit of a front bit detached into its own little tank.
Cobra, weird vehicle. Literally could be anything. I know what you mean though, but I don't remember what it was called. I barely remember what it looked like, but I know that there was more than likely a vehicle that you're speaking of because Cobra had the weirdest fucking vehicles, which is why they were the best.
All right, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, saying it reminds me of a weird Cobra vehicle. It's like,
do you remember the Mamba? I love that vehicle, but do you remember the Mamba? 3 cockpit helicopter. 2 of them dropped off to be boats, and then there was like a weird green ball-shaped submarine, I think. I don't remember that was called.
What was it? Wait, you're not thinking of the helicopter, are you? Or are you?
Well, no, the helicopter was purple, and that had like the 3 cockpits.
There's the helicopter that had the 2 side sponsons that dropped off into like little fighters, and the Mamba was the weird trike, wasn't it? The giant attack trike that had the 2 bits at the side that swung out.
No, I think that was something else. I mean, you can have a quick Google while we talk about this as well, because I can't look at that stuff, otherwise I'll pull it up on stream. Which is your favorite color scheme though for Blast Charge? I think this one might be for me.
I mean, I think this one's more coherent, and I dig how they've picked out the skull on the front of the truck. I did like, though, how on the basic version there was all that chrome on the front of the vehicle mode.
Okay.
I kind of liked, but I do think it's a nicer color scheme, and it just comes together better.
Good Goonie color as well, obviously purple and gray. You know, oddly enough, it reminds, in his little kind of I'm sitting on the toilet with wheels and I'm pooping and shooting kind of mode, reminds me a little bit, and I think it's because of the gray plastic they used, of the guy from Mask who was in Venom, who was in the black truck. The stupid guy. Dagger? Was his name Dagger?
I think it might be, yeah.
This reminds me a little bit of that guy, because it's black and purple, gray hat that almost has a little bit of a flair of his look. I'm not sure if it was an intentional thing or not, but it makes me think of it, and that's the important thing. Okay, Blast Charge, are we done with him?
Yeah, I can confirm you were thinking of the Mamba attack helicopter.
Hooray! Was it the Striker as the trike?
It might have been. I'm still working down the list. Where are you?
It was one of the famous ones because they had it all in season 3.
Was. Yeah, because it was the main vehicle in the movie for them as well.
Yeah. And you're right. For some reason, the thing split in half, and the cockpits could go out to the sides, and I don't know why. I don't know why it was meant to do.
And the driver was actually behind them, and it.
Yeah.
Again, you could say it was a weird Cobra vehicle, and that does nothing to narrow it down.
No, and yeah, it's very much in lore accuracy as well. But this is stupid. It's like, yeah, it's Cobra.
Yeah.
They just made things.
I found that Tankos thing, though, it's actually the Cobra Maggot self-propelled artillery.
Oh, what a name, the Maggot. Not very threatening, is it?
No, but then you see the size of the damn gun it had on the back.
Yeah, you don't need to be threatening when your gun's huge, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, so we have arguably, from what I'm told, the best Cheeto figure. This is the deluxe Night/Cheeto, where he is in some very interesting colors of black and very hot translucent orange. I don't know why this one is the best, but I have a feeling because it's not the Supreme, which is.
I think it's because it can stand.
Yeah, it looks like he still has the quite thin legs. You see those gray bits where the knees would be? I'm not sure how he's standing unless those joints are just really good. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but he has actual feet for the robot mode, unlike the other versions, which the feet are more a concept than a reality.
Oh, they're little nubs, like in the show model, right? Oh, and obviously for this, less show accuracy for more stability. Sometimes that's okay.
I'm annoyed because, one, I've never had this figure at all. But man, it'd be nice to have this actually in the proper colors. Because
it is weird that it was just put out on its own, and that was it. It's just, here's Night/Cheeto. It's like, who? What?
It was quite a late figure as well.
Yeah, 2001. So yeah, it was. I guess probably near the end of the run, because I think the run only had the 2 years, right? I don't think it really went on much longer than that.
Barely 20 episodes each.
Yeah, because then it was the Dinobots line that came after Beast Machines. in the similar
Yeah.
packaging.
Oh, it did get. Sorry, I was just looking at some of the repaints quickly. There is one slightly more Cheetor colors, but it's still not sure accurate.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oddly enough, the Cheeto mode looks a bit more. What? It's got a little Cybertronian crystal, maximal crystal in the top of it, which almost looks like it's in a tiny cockpit.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it looks like a different version of Cheeto's cat mode as well. Not massively, it's still similar, but it still looks a little different.
He's got a bit of his Transmetal 2 mode going on.
Kinda.
Just for proportions. You know what? It looks to me almost like it, because I've always liked that Transmetal 2 design he had. But this looks and feels a bit like a Transmetal 2 Cheetor that's just better articulated.
Ah, okay,
So
that's interesting.
That was my big issue with the Transmetal 2 Cheetor figure. That it can't do as much as you'd like it to.
No, I think it's fair. Yeah.
But I mean, this looks quite nice, to be fair. Like I say, I'm just annoyed it was so hard to get hold of because. So I remember the first time I saw it in one of the recognition guides, or was it? No, the Transformers Universe book.
Right.
And that was long after. Oh, well, that's not bad.
What?
15 quid plus £5 shipping.
That's fine. It's all right.
Let's put a watch on that, shall we?
He's got an okay gimmick where like the swords flip forward and go into the hands. Yeah. It's not a crazy amazing gimmick, but it's like, okay, that doesn't sound very intrusive. That sounds perfectly okay. And Big D mentioned that he had a few repaints. We'll start off with, for some reason, Botcon used him in 2002. Put him into red and white. Not the most attractive color scheme, to be fair. I think this is a little bit of a downgrade compared to his original release. And for some reason, he looks a little bit like a serial killer from his face. Because they've painted silver for his eyebrows and for like the middle part of like his face, and then the lower part of his face. But for some reason, his like mouth is white, and then like a strip of white paint is like across his eyes, and then he's got red eyes as well. So it almost looks like that Don Cheadle image of like the happy face, sad face. No, not Don Cheadle. What's his name? The guy that played the Thing in the Fantastic Four movie. Michael Chiklis?
Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis. It looks like his happy sad face meme. So there's that version, and then there's the universe version, because of course there's a universe version, where they've done him into kind of a toffee brown color, translucent red, and weird bits of metallic blue. It's an interesting color scheme, at least. I don't mind it. Well, what do you think of these two repaints, Big D?
I mean, the CAT scan one, like you say, yes, he's given off big serial killer vibes because of whatever they were doing with that color scheme. I do dig for red and for white, though, that comes across in the beast mode for that one. However, this universe repaint, that's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do dig that.
Lots of translucent red on him, which is quite nice, but it doesn't look like it's in any vital spots. The only thing I guess I'm not a big fan of is the kind of bronzish, goldish face with like the little freckle spots underneath the eyes. I think it's maybe the freckle spots. It looks like he's been in a gang and he's killed 4 people, and that's why he's got the tattoos there.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that the eyes on all 3 versions of this look dead because of the light piping, I think.
Yeah. No, that's true.
If it's been painted, that could probably have helped a lot. And also, there's not really a lot of face to work with for Cheetor, the Beast Machine's design, especially deluxe scale, to paint additional details that aren't molded.
Is the head quite small compared to the body for this figure? For the mold in general? I think it might be.
Yeah.
Like it's a little too small.
I'd say so.
I'm sure that's to accommodate it, fitting into places, but it just looks just a little off. But again, it could just be images. I mean, if you win the auction, Big D, and you get the nice Cheetor, you'll be able to tell me if it is better looking in person, I suppose. Right?
Oh, let's buy it now. We'll make an offer.
You're not even listening. That's okay.
Sorry, I was listening.
Yeah, lost in your world. All right, let's move on to Jetstorm, the deluxe Jetstorm, the small Jetstorm. I have this figure. Have you had this Jetstorm, Big D?
Again, I didn't, but again, my friend at university did.
So you've had a fiddle with it.
I have had a mess around with it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did you think of it?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I think okay is a good way to describe it. It's okay.
I mean, like Mirage, it's probably as a grunt figure. This is pretty much what you want from a grunt, isn't it? It looks for pop. It's got some fun gimmicks in that you can do the no legs thing if you want, but it can actually. It also has functional legs as well. Even if they do look. Yep. Even if it does give him some unfortunate. Well.
He's got a penis. He's got a penis. He's literally got a cockpit.
And the worst bit is, as we can see from the attack mode, it is articulated.
It is, yeah. Well, it is in that mode. It's not really articulated in the robot mode, thankfully. I would say this is better, or I prefer this to the Ultra version. Even though the head is inaccurate, I find that this feels more accurate than that Jetstorm.
I can see that.
The thing I didn't like about this figure primarily were the flaps, the little cups that go over his hands in robot mode, because they are just, they're not hidden away. They're very obviously just kind of only slightly tucked away or pushed back, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I think the jet mode is not too bad. I like the attack mode. It's accurate to the show being, he's just got a weird bird head and just work. Okay, sure. Whatever. I don't mind that. I didn't like the color scheme. Obviously, it's very inaccurate. It's yellow and kind of a greeny, metallic-y, bluish kind of color, which is
if this was in more of that deep blue for Jetstorm has in the show, it would that would improve it massively in my eyes.
Yeah, I would agree. It would help out a lot. Strangely enough, this figure's got a decent amount of repaints. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And I think the original version is arguably the worst version. Would you agree?
That's not an unfair thing to say, I think. That's reasonable.
My second least favorite is the next one, which came from apparently the same line. It was a repaint, just a standard one. Sonic Attack Jet. Everyone's favorite character, which I assume this was meant to be the grunt version of the character, as it's very slightly closer to what would be what you would imagine as the normal color scheme. Go away, news.
Yeah.
But it's still not quite there because they've stripped out all of the yellow from it. So he's gray, light blue, dark blue, and then very small amounts of red. So he's quite a boring visual color scheme. In jet mode, I think it kind of works. It all kind of comes together.
The jet mode works quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, the other bits of blue help break up just it being solid blue, so that's quite nice. But in robot mode, to me, it comes across as quite just dull. And it doesn't really work altogether. Would you disagree, or do you think that's fair?
No, I would agree with that. It is just, like I say, it's just dull because of the amount of that silvery grey plastic. It's just,
I think it is the grey plastic. The grey plastic in the robot mode pushes the blues far enough apart that it makes it not work like it does in the jet mode.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Stormjet, which was out for Robots in Disguise, is a lot better. It's in Jetfire colors, at least in vehicle mode. It's definitely like Skyfire, Jetfire colors. But then in robot mode, it turns into a mostly red robot with white highlights and black highlights and stuff. And it looks really nice. Yeah. It's got a nice pop to it. It's
a really nice, crisp color scheme. Because it's not an off-white or a creamy white. It's a very pure white they've gone for.
It's a white you'd fear with yellow by today's standards.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeedy.
I like this one. As this is
Yeah.
probably my third favorite. I think I like it, but not to the max. Next up,
It's fun. It's fun, but it's an Autobot as well.
yeah. Next, I don't think it looks like a good guy though. That's the problem sometimes when you get
Oh
a
God, no.
character that looks like a villain and it's like, oh, it's a good guy. It's like, okay. Next up is a store exclusive, Jihaxis. I think this was the first Jihaxis figure we ever got. 99% sure that's the case. Say where? Oh, it was a KB Toys store exclusive in 2003. So they've gone for orange, whitish, gray, and black. And this again a nice solid color scheme. Again, looks really nice in jet mode where he's really orange. Unlike the Sonic Jet attack, he's interesting enough still in robot mode. I find at least. Would you agree?
I think it's just the way that gray's been distributed works better than it did on Sonic Attack Jet.
I think it's not just standard flat gray either. This is I mean, it's not flat plastic gray, or it doesn't look like flat plastic gray, which is good, at least I find. XLHead says, kind of wish BotCon went all the way with the Jetstorm and did all three Seekers, if only, but they didn't. However, Universe decided to do the Skywarp version, and none of the other ones did. And this one's maybe the best. It's Skywarp colors, and you can say what you like, but it works.
Yeah,
it works really well.
it's quite tasty.
Yeah, black and purple, and yet they've still got little bits extra highlight colors on here as well. Odd that they do have a random bit of very metallic purples in very small places, but I guess it still works. But it's nice, you know. I like this one the best, I think.
I would go with that. It's for classic Decepticon colours, isn't it?
Yeah,
if in doubt, black and purple. Toss a little bit of white and grey on there as well for good measure. Sorted.
I mean, it was kind of we didn't say it outright, but it's kind of the same with Blast Charge. She was black and purple.
Yeah,
that worked too. Yeah. Right? It just works.
It does seem like if in doubt, black and purple it.
Yeah, pretty much. Next up, we have the Megas. We're not doing Jetstorm Ultra because we're not onto the Ultras yet. So Megas, we're doing Megatron.
This is just weird.
I'm pretty sure I've played with this at Dave's house again and was not desperately impressed.
I actually owned this. I picked it up. I picked it up about maybe 12 years ago off eBay when I was on a bit of a Beast Machines kick, just picking up bits and pieces here and there.
So what did you think of it? How does it compare to Legacy Transmetal 2 Megatron?
Oh, that's just unfair, Andy. That's mean.
I know.
I mean, it's so weird because Beast Machines Megatron is an odd egg at the best of times. Doubly so if you actually put him in his cape and close it up.
I'd argue that's his best mode.
Oh yeah, because you can't see anything.
Yeah.
The robot mode is if you open up the shell, it's not great. The transformation to beast mode, though, in fairness to it is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if they've mistransformed this or not, because I'm sure the wings on mine sit lower.
I think you're right.
I'm sure it's on a hinge.
Like a hinge, right?
Down. Yeah,
I think you're right.
Double hinge that falls down. It's not perfect because it's ideally this should have been a bigger size class. This is the thing with Beast Machines. So many of the figures, the size they've gone for just makes.
But Big D, we need the ultra. We need the supreme scale for Cheetah and Night Scream. That's who we need it for, not Megatron.
Yeah,
because think about the last time we had Dragon Megatron, he was the biggest size class that they could do.
Yes,
and they're trying to do it again, but at a smaller scale, and then have a extra mode in there as well.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. I mean, I actually quite like the robot mode head.
Yeah, the head's okay.
Because that's a good depiction of the mask he wears. Because you can never do the bit underneath it, because that's just not going to work at any size for an action figure unless you start messing around with translucent pieces over non-translucent. But the robot mode's just tragic, man. Because
it looks more like a Happy Meal toy than it does anything else.
Yeah,
I can appreciate what it's
yeah.
trying to do. I think it's almost an interesting idea that they folded the dragon arms to make his abdomen area. It doesn't look good, but it's like, it's an idea.
I mean, the
It's an
fact that
idea.
it's basically the length of his body becomes, you rotate it to become his arms, and his head pops out. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it's an idea.
So, there is some fun stuff in the transformation. So basically, the lower body just splits apart to allow you to rotate the torso down and around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of nifty. Again, there's interesting engineering going on here. It's just not good.
No,
Just
the
overall.
wings don't really look like the wings. They're kind of messy.
Mm.
The tail is again just hanging out there. It's
Yeah.
the dragon mode reminds me of a Chinese dragon, and then this is the Mushu version from Mulan version of it. The small,
Yeah.
weedy, not very impressive, sad version. Even the pose they've got him in makes him look very sad and downcast.
And the sad thing is that I know from my own experience of trying to pose my one, it's not easy to pose it,
No.
how it's balanced, and the tail doesn't help because the tail keeps wanting to come away as you left him balancing on a hand that's sticking out of his ass.
As you do. That's why I say that the quote unquote defense mode is the best mode, because he closes up the wings. He granted still doesn't look like he should do, because that's not exactly how the cape look in the show, but it does hide a lot of the issues that was with this figure. Again, like I say, I played with this at Dave's toy, and it's at Dave's house, and it's just not good. The best version of Beast Machine's Megatron is Megabolt, the one that turns into the floating Megatron head. That's actually a really good figure. Really, really good figure. Love it a lot. XL Hedge says, Dear Hasbro, seriously redo Beast Machines and give him an actual Transmetal 2 Dragon mode and figure out how to properly transform him into Cape Robot mode with the control helmet as a separate piece. I guess the problem with doing that is if you just make effectively Transmetal 2 Megatron, I imagine it's hard to then go, also put into the budget him transforming into a cape mode that's coherent.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be one hell of an expensive figure at the end of the day. I mean, I would love to see them add some Beast Machines to the Legacy toy line, to just because they've been dipping into so many different lines, and I think Beast Machines is the outlier at this point.
I think that because the designs are so weird for Beast Machines, they'd G1ify it basically, and they wouldn't make them like what they would look like, which is arguably maybe what people would want.
Yeah,
you know,
and I kind of, on one hand, I get it because they are really.
They don't make sense.
Weird.
Yeah, they don't work. They don't actually transform. No. You watch the shows and those models just suck into nothingness and then poop out of an animal from nowhere.
Yeah, because I think Beast Machines kind of went the inverse to how it's supposed to work. So they did the animation designs first and then made the toys, whereas Beast Machines toys, they picked them for toys to make into the animation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, I mean, if they did Beast Machines but made it more in line with Beast Wars, that could be interesting.
It could. I imagine it'd still be difficult to do like some of the characters. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's liked enough for them to justify doing it, because it always feels like Beast Wars is a secondary thought from Hasbro's point of view, at least.
It is kind of the redheaded stepchild of the franchise, to be honest.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because I've always had a soft spot for it ever since I finally picked it up on DVD years ago and watched it all. And it's like, oh, actually, this is an interesting show. I get what they were going for.
It's better written than a lot of the modern Transformer shows, I'd say, unfortunately. It's just a little bit confused and messy in places, and it shouldn't. Like me and Mike, you've said, it shouldn't have been a sequel to Beast Wars because the characters are completely off. Like Rat Trap's just not Rat Trap. It's so bizarre.
The personalities are just
off.
Yeah, and which is again, it's a shame because there's a lot. I think everyone should give Beef Machines a shot at least once.
100%.
Because there is some good stuff across that run. Some
interesting messaging as well in there about fanaticism and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's neat.
Yeah.
So that's Megatron. I don't think he got redone. I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure if
he didn't. I had to look.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the Mega Cheetor, who, in fact, like Big D said, does not have feet. Also looks like he's standing on small stilts with his legs. Odd proportions. I will say the head, although not accurate, is okay. Head design is not too bad.
I've always kind of preferred this head to the one from the show, to be fair.
Yeah. Though, does it look more like a bear to you or a cat? To me, it looks a little bit like a bear.
Yeah, I can get it. It's just generally more bestial looking, whereas they went for slightly more anthropomorphic face designs in the series.
Yeah.
The show.
It seems like this has a lot of weird design choices as well, with the hands being the claws, so they just didn't give him proper hands. Lots of translucent green parts on him for reasons, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is there a ball joint in the waist as well?
I think so. He does, because in the beast mode, the torso can actually flex. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'd forgotten how much translucent this guy has, because I have him in one of my wardrobe, and I'm kind of now worried to ever touch me.
It might be fine. Could be okay.
But a lot of it, yes, but a lot of that plastic translucent is on joints or around joints, which is
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I will say that it looks like they've clearly gone, okay, let's design the cat first. Here's the cat. Let's design the robot. And they went, okay. And I think that's the only way you can do it. I'll say that I prefer this over the Supreme, which we'll get to tonight. But
oh yes, yeah.
Again, if you match this up against the Night Slash looks better. It doesn't have the weird proportions. The hands are a little bit nicer to look at, I think, visually. The legs are less accurate. They're nicer. These are more accurate, you could say, and this look weird. Though I really don't know why it looks like his legs are either on springs or whatnot. Do you see what I mean? Just below the translucent green, it looks like they bounce.
The animation model, his robot mode legs were supposed to be long, to be longer.
Yeah.
So that was how they did that. And
I see.
It's not great.
Go, gadget legs.
And on top of that, then he's compromised by having a swiping action in one arm, which
of course he does.
You can't, which makes that arm look different to the other, but also you can barely do anything with it.
It does look like his right arm, the left arm in the image. It looks like that's the one he's been working out on, doing pumping at the gym, and the other one he's just given up on. He's like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's the swiping gimmick action, probably.
Yeah.
Did this get redone? Probably not. No.
I don't think it did. No,
this was the only version of him. Do you have anything else to say? Like, do you remember anything else about how this cheetah works or feels or plays like? Articulation.
It actually doesn't feel bad in hand, this one. It is a pain to balance sometimes.
I think that's the cheetah design, right?
Yeah, because you've got such small feet to balance on. But I mean, if you reduce those stilts down, just push the feet in, it becomes a lot easier to do anything with. But the beast mode is really nice, though. It's a really nice beast mode to look at.
Okay.
And it's very clean once you've transformed it, which is quite nice.
Does he do a lot of transforming? Because it doesn't look like it does. It looks like mostly he stands up.
It's not a massive amount, to be fair.
Yeah.
Which probably explains why it's so clean, because he doesn't do a lot. I get why they did this in the the Supreme version of him, because Cheetor was supposed to. They were trying to position him in the show as being the hero character, whereas
Yep.
Prime became more of a mentor.
Yeah, he was the Bumblebee.
So it made sense. It's just the design was not one that. Again, a lot of this comes down to that Beast Machine's designs were so esoteric. They're lovely designs for the most part. They look great in the show, but they don't translate well to something that can transform between modes, because they just cheated so much.
I can't believe how stressful it would have been to try and make these designs into toys. I imagine it was super fucking stressful.
Yeah, I would love to have been offline for one of the meetings, or just to find out how the design process went. Did it come from Hasbro to mainframe, or mainframe to Hasbro? How was that process? Because some of these figures, you just think, surely that can't have been what they were aiming for.
Yeah, what were the concept art designs like before they got to this stage? What they look like before this? That would have been interesting, I suppose. So that's Cheetor. We have the Ultra Jetstorm now with his weird fucking face, which isn't accurate to the show either. I remember I had this. He's very big. Very big. I hate how his hand flaps work. His hand flaps work worse somehow than the deluxe version. Because there's only one big flap. The way that this one works is there's two flaps that close around the hands and just stick out of the side of the arms, which I'm not.
I mean, at least it's nice and clean in jet mode when it does that.
Yes, the jet mode is perfectly accurate. The jet mode looks good. It looks like how it should do, is what I would say. I think the issue is like they decided to hamper it down with this awful turret gimmick.
Yeah.
Where effectively the neck and chest area of the jet mode pops up out of the plane, and if you rotate it, it rotates the nose cone as well. And obviously, because the chest gimmick is there for the robot mode, it doesn't work, but it's obviously impacting how the transformer works or how it transforms.
Yeah.
And
it's a real shame, because it's possibly one of the nicest jet modes out there, for me anyway. For just because I've always been a sucker for that forward swept wing design. In fairness, you know what this jet mode does? It rips off the YF-19 Valkyrie from Macross Plus, something rotten. Really does. But it looks great. Even with the gimmick in the turret that turns it, the fact that the neck is an integral part of the design up to the cockpit, and it does swivel, is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Head sculpt, that's annoying.
I'm not sure what. Again, this is the concept design. I don't know what they were going for here, but it's not a good look.
The head sculpts on all the generals, the general versions of the Viacons, were just off massively.
Yeah.
Which is
clearly they needed another pass, which is what they got for the finalized versions. Yeah.
But it feels nice. It's got a nice heft in hand. The issue of my one is the fact that where it has been sitting in one of my tubs, because of how those rear fins on the turret are clipped into translucence.
Oh no!
On mine, one of those has snapped. Or it's cracked at least.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, haven't taken it out of the box since then. So
no, I don't blame you.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, he has the missile launchers which we talked about. Vehicle features a gear-driven articulated cockpit linked to the spring-loaded pop-up gun turret, which is what we mentioned. It's also got light up turret and missile sounds. So I remember on the front of the cockpit where the eyes are, you can press down on there and it goes etc. etc.
Yeah.
Just like okay, fine, yeah.
It actually has some. The gun noises were quite fun on it, actually.
Yeah. They're good pew pew pews. obviously not essential for play. It's an ultra. We gotta give it a big dumb gimmick.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't impact the toy. It did. Oh, okay. What a shame. He did get a redo. A couple. He got Beast Wars Return version, which we'll have a look at first, and then it got a Botcon Cyclonus version, which was the version I wanted to get for the longest time, but didn't, thankfully. I got the standard version first. So, the Japanese version doesn't actually do a huge amount in terms of changing the color scheme. It changes the neck joint to be almost completely the same color instead of gray. If you notice, the blue does kind of change color a little bit, which is kind of weird. They also give him the correct hand color of the kind of no, they haven't given. Is that the right hand color? For some reason, they've got some of his joints as like this greeny blue plastic. And I don't know why, because I don't remember that. Maybe that's in the original design, but I'm not sure. I don't think this is a massive upgrade. This isn't like Black Arachnia in terms of, this is clearly the best version. This is just like okay, it's a little bit better, I suppose, but not much. Do you have any thoughts on this?
It's fine. It's a nice tweak of the colors, but like you said, not one I'd massively be worried about.
That's fine. Yeah. And then there's the Cyclonus version, which I thought was a neat idea because, I mean, it's similar looking shaped ships. Like if you blacken them out to silhouettes, they'd have a similar silhouette-esque.
I can dig that. I mean, honestly, at this point, this was, I think, the first Cyclonus we'd had in years since the movie.
It might be in the first one since G1, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the jet mode, I think, is probably more successful with the colors. Oddly, the robot gives me slight Overlord vibes of how the colors wind up.
You mean in terms of the placement?
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
I think it doesn't help that they kept the metallic chromed blue for some reason when that arguably should have been purple, or at least lilac, something more consistent with the color scheme, but they decided to go with blue. Maybe to hint at the sometimes blue version of Cyclonus, maybe. I don't know. That might be too generous to say that, but
this is a fun recolor. It's not quite accomplishing what they wanted it to.
No,
but I appreciate the effort they put into it.
Yeah, they've definitely done. Botcon would do better in the future. This is not one of the stronger figures, that's for sure. XL Hedge says, was the Cyclonus repaint the first time it was confirmed Cyclonus was Bombshell? Well, if it comes from Botcon, who cares? Does actually say in the thing here that it was Bombshell?
Doesn't specify.
No, I don't see it in the bio here for the tech spec, so maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But again, if it was from fans, the Collectors Club, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. I don't care anymore. The last figure for tonight is one of the scary ones. It's ones that people like ironically, because I don't believe people actually like this figure. It's Supreme Cheetor.
Jesus.
He's very big. He had a lot of the features were robot to beast, lights and sounds, doesn't say what they were, gear driven / feature of the left arm, which is I guess similar to the one from the Mega version, maybe. Spring loaded missile launcher and an articulated jaw in both modes. He does have what we call the Skeletor grin, I suppose, or what could be called the Skeletor grin. He also has gorilla arms, but where the palms of the hands are facing down. See, I don't think. Can you rotate his wrists?
I don't think you could.
I'm not sure. And then he has even longer and even spindlier legs than the Ultra, which we just looked at as well. You could say the head's more accurate. That's probably true. But he doesn't have human teeth, or he shouldn't have human teeth, because they're meant to be a little bit pointy, like a cat's, because he's a cheetah.
Yeah, and his nose shouldn't be black either. Someone's got a bit carried away with the cat vibe there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hadn't even noticed. That's a good point. Yes, he's not meant to have a big black nose. He's missing the purple underneath his eyes as well, you could argue. That's not too big of a deal because that's probably an expense they couldn't afford for whatever reason. I've never had this. I've seen it and thought it looks awful. The cat mode looks also particularly awful with a lot of translucent plastic around the waist and torso for some reason. The cat hands look weird, and they've also given it a thumb for the outside of the claw. So it looks like a man with really long, creepy fingers bending over.
The thumbs really don't help.
No.
If that was just maybe pointed the other backwards, like it was a dew claw or something, that might have helped it. But yeah, this is such a weird figure because this was, I mean, prior to us getting Unicron, I think this may have been the single biggest Transformer we'd had for a very long time.
I can't think of a figure bigger, apart from Fort Max, obviously.
Certainly bigger than anything we'd had in. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was nothing in Beast Wars that was of a size to this.
No, not even close.
And it was such a weird choice because, they were pushing Cheetor as the question marks main hero, the leader of the Maximals in this new show. But this figure just makes no sense because it's Words fail. Words fail me. It's just I hate to be negative about something, but I just don't understand it.
I can think of a positive, but it is like stretching the concept of a positive.
Go on.
It's got a lot of features, so it's got a lot of things a kid can fiddle with.
It's true.
The problem is the actual like playability, because the legs are so thin and long. I can't imagine a kid picking it up and like, you pick it up and you stomp it around, right? I can't imagine those legs did desperately well with that kind of pick up and stomp around kind of action. I don't think, and I can't imagine. Well, I think the issue might be, to begin with, like, does it look cool? Does it have that, that looks really cool vibe that a kid would probably like? I don't think so.
No.
Does the cheetah design generally have that look in the show? I think in the show he looks interesting. I'm not sure if he looks cool for 2000-ish time. Maybe he looks coolish, but maybe he looks a bit too weird, as we talked about, with a weird French aspect. Does the toy look cool? No. I definitely don't think the toy looks cool.
And the thing is, because I remember seeing this on shelves when it came out. It was not a cheap toy.
No, it wasn't. It was like 50. Was it 50 quid? Or 40, 50?
Something 40, 50, yeah. This was an expensive toy.
Yeah, for 2000, that was like super expensive.
And it didn't look great.
No.
I mean,
it didn't sell great.
They packaged it in beast mode, which is the best mode idea to sell it in.
Yeah.
Because the remote mode looks terrible, and also you need a box that's basically long and thin, whereas this could go in the packaging in beast mode was a little less egregious. But man, it's a shame because of that sort of size point, you'd expect it to really be the best take on the character.
Yeah.
And it's not, because it doesn't have the same amount of articulation in the beast mode as the Ultra version does. The arms are, I'd say, are worse than the Ultra version.
They look it, yeah.
It's certainly not as nice a looking figure as the Night Slash version that came after this. The gimmicks are fine, but as with so many of these figures, the gimmicks also are what massively compromises it. Because I think if you didn't have as much of the light and the sound and mechanical gimmickry going on, this could have had a shot. But that kind of holds true for a lot of Beast Machines line, and it sucks because the designers have clearly tried their damnedest with a lot of these to take really difficult designs to interpret, make them work in plastic. But man, this just
It's bad.
it is.
It's bad.
And
It's
the
a
thing
really
is,
bad, terrible figure.
and you can't give this the same pass you can a lot of the other figures, because the other figures are all much smaller classes. They're normally they've almost all been a lot cheaper than this.
Yeah, look at Hammer Strike. He's a really fucking weird figure. But he would have probably only been, what, 5... I can't remember how much basics were back then. So it is a guess. He was probably only about £5 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So this would have
And
been
even-
about
and
10
even-
times
even-
the amount or something. I
Even
would
the
guess.
worst of the basics we've looked at today, I would take over this guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Because at least they're interesting. This is just... I mean, hell, the amount of translucent plastic and how big it is, I'd be terrified to even touch one today.
Yeah, because there's so much top weight on those leg joints. Like, if you look at how big his chest is, which also has to contain lights and whatnot, that's a lot of weight on a relatively small joint for, like, hip joint, knee joint.
Most of his
whatever you want to
torso
say.
is made out of translucent as well,
Yeah,
next to the waist. So that's
another thing.
and the arms go into that same section as well, which is just
Yeah, his
elbows
like
are
elbow
translucent.
swivel. For some reason, his elbows are translucent, and I don't know why they're translucent either.
Yeah.
With a pin running through them, as you do. Yeah, it's a very strangely designed toy. It almost it feels like the gimmick toy. You know how we've talked about the Optimus Prime, where you pushed it on the floor and it span and it transformed.
Yes.
But that looked like Optimus Prime. That wasn't compromised that much. This is like the big compromised Transformer that just doesn't really work. It's got a load of stuff in it, but I think this is worse than what's his name? Nightwing, the Bat dude. I said it earlier.
Noble Savage.
No, the Bat.
Oh,
dude.
Night Scream.
Night Scream. Yeah, I think Night Scream might be better than this, but it's not by a huge margin. Don't get me wrong. I don't think either this guy or Night Scream are great. They're both ugly. They're both overpriced.
Night Scream at least has the benefit of being a new character who's only available in that size.
Which was a weird choice to begin with, but yes, that's true.
It was.
With Cheeto, you had at least 2 other options.
Yeah.
Which you probably should have chosen. But that's it. That's all from part 1 of Beast Machines. We're going to be talking about the second part because I think I divided them up evenly. Do you have anything else to say on these ones that we've talked about for tonight, Big D?
Only I'm a bit more disappointed by it than I thought I'd be.
That's Beast Machines. It's a lot of ideas that just don't pan out because of the designs being so weird.
Would you say, because I think Black Arachne is probably the best of the ones we've looked at.
Oh.
She's certainly the one I have the fondest memories of and feelings towards.
I'm quickly looking at the... Yeah, because the only other ones that I really think are, like, interesting are the basic figures that we've talked about. None of the deluxes really did a huge amount for me. They all felt reasonably disappointing. I didn't like any of the megas. I didn't like any of the ultras, and obviously the Supreme Cheeto's anus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's, if we're talking about the best one, probably the Black Arachnia. And then for kind of fun toys, as long as you can get them cheap, they might be fun if you think they're good. The basics are probably a good throw, especially if you don't know the character.
That was a nice surprise, though, hearing you talk about the basics and how many of them because you've had more experience with a lot of them than I have.
Yeah,
I've only handled a couple of the Vehicons, which were fun, like I said, I'd happily have them as grunts in a collection at some point.
We haven't talked about like Night Viper. Night Viper we'll be talking about next time. Night Viper is really cool. Night Viper's really fun, and he's only one of 2 Cobra Transformers as well. He's very neat.
Ooh.
But that'll be for next time.
Mm.
But yeah, the only basic that looks like it's just don't touch it is GeckoBot. Also, it's got a wank name. It's got a shit name. GeckoBot.
It's like someone was just thinking, you know what? I bet that was literally the first draft. That was the design and the placeholder name, GeckoBot, and someone just took it down off the board without a second pass.
What's it turn into? GeckoBot. Done. All right, time for lunch, boys. We've done this. Pat yourself on the back.
So someone comes in, that's on the Friday. Someone comes in on Monday and goes, guys, where's my concept for this GeckoBot? So someone goes, concept design?
Oh, bro, it's done. It's already in the factory.
Yeah, we said that it's in tooling. No!
Ooh, okay. Well, no, that's fine. No worries, no problem. Well, Big D, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
Oh, I'm everywhere on probably on far too many social media sites as David Kelly. Look for the weird Welsh spelling because pretty sure I'm the only person who does it that way. I'm over on the Fluff and Hammer, co-host. Well, Mr. Gruff's got me as one of his minions now, along with yourself, of the deeper dives, which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Ooh.
Going through past articles on the Fluff and Hammer and having a nice yammer about them. Myself and Mr. White do the Fluff and Buster show, which we haven't done in a while. I am planning on doing a recording with Gruff, though, for that, which I think he might be seeing if you fancy joining us.
Oh, okay.
Because we want to talk about Event Horizon.
Oh, fun movie.
Yes. And yeah, that's kind of me at this point. Yeah.
No other places? That's it?
Oh, no, I do the occasional article for ukanime.net, but I need to get some more stuff written down because I haven't done anything in a while.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy, on Flesh of a Human Being, not 10-year period. We're playing near Replicant at the moment, going through that. Feels like a very old game in terms of how it's designed. Also, the hard mode is incredibly badly designed, so we're going to be knocking that down to normal mode because do you remember? Have you ever played like the Uncharted games, Big D?
I haven't. I've not played Uncharted or any of the Nier series.
Okay. This is like I'm only using Uncharted as a kind of description. So you could shoot enemies in the head multiple times and they wouldn't die. Hard mode for Nier kind of feels like a similar thing. For one of the bosses, the last phase, you pick up a bomb, you throw it in its mouth, then you dodge some lasers, then you dodge some missiles, then you pick up a bomb and throw it in its mouth. I had to pick up and throw a bomb in its mouth about 7 to 8 times.
Oh dear.
And that's a lot, considering you're doing the exact same. Mario has the perfect amount. You do 3 times and it's done. When you're doing it that many times, it becomes tedious. They're just incredible sponges of damage, and it's not difficult. It's just tediously long. So I'm switching it back down to normal.
That becomes annoying at that point.
Yeah, it's not fun. Moonbase 2, if you want to join us here every week on a Sunday, it's it's 9:30 in the evening UK time. If you want to join us on YouTube or Twitch, it's Decayed Andy or the Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast. You can find us on most places as Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast. Twitter, Twitch, iTunes, Libsyn, Facebook, places like that. Also the ccbunker.weebly.com. We're there as well. Thank you once again, Big D, for talking about toys with me, Transformers-wise.
No worries. Always happy to have a yammer. So
yeah, and we will see you next week. Again, it depends if there's actual news to talk about, or we'll talk about the rest of Beast Machines. It's up to Transformers. It's up to them. It's not up to me.
I think MCM is next weekend, isn't it?
Is it?
MCM
I don't know.
London?
Oh, I was going to ask you. This isn't Transformers related. When's the next Warhammer event where they show things?
Oh, well, apparently they've got 2. There's this week coming up on Thursday. Is the now annual Skulls show where they're talking about video games, hosted by Mr. Raul Cooley again, because that seems to be his regular slot as well.
I don't imagine there'll be much shown. I think the most we can hope for is they'll actually show something from Mechanicus 2, because I haven't shown anything from that for ages.
Yeah.
Since the announcement trailer, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking Mechanicus 2, some stuff about the next set of DLC for Rogue Trader, because they do have a new update coming soon.
They'll probably talk about some free DLC for Space Marine 2 as well, just like new cosmetics or something, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I hear rumors we might have a surprise or two, which I don't want to spoil for people, but it's got me all a twixt and Twitter. And then on Friday is a big preview show from the Dallas Open. That's at 7 p.m. in the evening. I think myself and Mr. White are going to be chatting about that.
Okay.
Whilst it happens.
Is that late? Are you gonna force Mr. White to stay up really late?
No, he volunteered. No, 7 p.m.
Poor Mr. White. Oh my god.
7 p.m. our time for a change.
Oh, okay, so, that's nice. That's good.
We think we know one of the big things is going to be, because it's been spoiled. There's been pictures doing the rounds.
Is there any hints about old world stuff?
Not yet. Someone did point out that Wood Elves is actually coming ahead of Beastmen but the narrative in some of the reviewers out there who've had the book ahead of time.
The Beastmen one or the Wood Elf one, you mean?
The Wood Elf one. The narrative actually in there actually picks up from the Beastmen one, so they think there's been a delay with the Beastmen release.
Oh, okay.
So they brought the Wood Elves forward, which is interesting. So we might hear something about that. Possibly a better idea of when Cafe might release. You never know.
All right.
But it's a show. I'm looking forward to seeing what they reveal, even though probably the big things have already been revealed. I'm quite excited to see them chat about it properly. Because they, as much it must be annoying for them to have had box spoiled so far ahead, they've actually shown remarkably good humor with the Horus CSA site to poke. I kind of respect Joe for having that amount of willingness to poke fun at themselves. I
mean, at this point, you should just be used to leaks, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of leaks that come out of Games Workshop is it you can't even figure out. It's no longer worth guessing if it's intentional or not, because it has the same effect. And
people love flapping their gums. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll blow up some part of the fandom, but yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be 7 in the evening. I might see if anyone else in the Fluff and Hammer Discord wants to come on as well. I might make it an episode of the old community radio for Croft to put out. So yeah, that could be. It'll be nice just to have a NASA with Mr. White, because he's been busy.
He has. I haven't seen him in my streams for a while, so I assume he's just been rammed with work and being tired in general.
Yeah, bless him. He's been doing a lot of stuff. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Getting back into the workplace. So.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, I bet that's been hard, rough. But yes. Anyway, we'll catch you next week, everybody. Thank you for coming by.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.